Hi, everybody. It's DJ Nikki here on WXCD 107.3 FM with your weekly news wrap-up brought to us by elwoodcity.org. In the studio with me, as always, is Jonathan Cortez. He's fired up today. I don't even have to ask you, how are you? So
I'm fired up today.
You are. He is. All right, so before we get to talking about the subjects that fire up Elwood, you had an interesting interview this morning. So let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, so essentially there's a guy, he makes dinosaur skeletons and he puts them in his yard and he wants everybody to see them.
Okay, so my question is, you've met this guy in person, you've seen the dinosaurs in person?
Yes.
What are they made out of? Metal?
Oh, yeah, so I should go into this. First, they're on Rhode Island Boulevard, which is, like Newcastle Road where the baseball field and Nico Luciani's are. Across from that, it's one of those like little roads.
Oh, one of
right
those little
across from
side
there.
roads, okay.
Yeah, if you're on the road, you'll see it because it's not a very big road.
Okay.
Yeah, and I keep wanting to say...
You can see the dinosaurs from the road?
No. From Rhode Island Road, you can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can see them from the... if you just... I don't know the specific address, but if you're just driving on Rhode Island Boulevard, you'll see them. And so, right now, he has a T-Rex and a baby T-Rex, and they're pretty big. The big T-Rex was like 20 feet long. He makes them out of... there's several things that he does, and I don't remember the whole process, but he starts with just insulation, like your pink insulation.
Okay.
And wraps it in cheesecloth, and then I think he put like a rubber resin on it. And the skull was made of fiberglass, and the teeth, he hand makes each tooth out of marble.
So they legitimately look like a skeleton.
Yes.
When you were talking about this, when you first came in, I was picturing like metal sculptures or something.
It looks like going into a museum and looking at the skeletons.
Well, that's kind of interesting.
Yes. I guess he's makes a living out of being an artist. This dinosaur thing is just a hobby he has.
Oh, okay.
And he has invited everyone to drive by and see them.
All right. So what's his name?
George Sean.
George Sean. All right. And he's a new resident, Elwood. You said that he was from out of the area, out of state.
Oh, he's not. He's been here for a few years.
Oh,
he's not like this.
Okay, because I'd never heard his name or seen the dinosaurs yet.
I think I have heard of the dinosaurs before.
Okay. Yeah, when you first mentioned dinosaurs, I was picturing there's a place in Newcastle, and I don't know where they got them from, but their dinosaurs they look like really sturdy paper mache, and they're all rainbow colored. Have you ever seen those? That's what I pictured. If you're leaving Newcastle and you're going to go out towards Ohio, there is a furniture store right past the Sheets, and it has a crazy rainbow triceratops in the front. So that was what I pictured.
No, this is
so they look legit.
Yeah, they look like...
I'll have to take a drive by and check it out.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
All right. So, another big topic that's been ongoing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been ongoing. I almost feel like it needs some kind of resolve quickly because
it will never be
dragging
resolved.
out.
No, because people can't give up on it. There needs to be change.
Well, I mean, that's true.
Change.
Sometimes the best change takes time.
Yes. So anyway, the happy news is over. We're now going to talk about Electric, which...
Consider yourself warned.
Yes.
I guess we should drop another warning that if you guys hear some background noise kicking on and off, it's because it's a hot day outside and we have the air conditioner running, but it doesn't run constantly. It just kicks on and off. So I always like to tell everybody, if you hear something happening in the background, that's what's going on. All right, so on to our not so happy topic.
Yeah. Say this how it's going. So Monday, there was the town hall meeting.
How did that go?
A lot of people from the group, the Facebook group, Standing Up to Elwood Electric, which has 1,200 members, attended. Basically, Bob Villela had this big PowerPoint that, well, it wasn't actually a PowerPoint. It was a handout that he didn't hand out to everybody because he didn't have enough copies. But I posted the handout as a PDF. Anybody can look at it. That has all bunch of information about the entire borough government.
Well,
so look at that.
Yeah, that was good. So elwoodcity.org, you guys can check out Bob Villela's handout.
And a representative from AMP was there, and she had a really long PowerPoint that you can also get on elwoodcity.org.
Okay.
And the PowerPoint was facing away from the audience, so that was kind of not that helpful.
Wow.
Like it was, we're facing forward. It was to our left in the front, so it wasn't.
Well, a lot
actually,
of people couldn't see
Yeah,
it.
a lot of people couldn't
All
see
right,
it.
so if you were there and you couldn't see it, or you couldn't make it there and you want to see it, go to elwoodcity.org and check it out.
So essentially, you get a lot of information from that, and it's actual information. Like, see people post, oh, they're just putting smoke and mirrors to distract us. It was, you asked for information about the electric department, and they gave you like 200 pages of information about the electric department. It's because it's complicated. If you can't process that, then
Well, don't know what to tell you.
yeah. So, which is not to say that there aren't problems with the electric department and borough council, but not taking the time to learn what those problems are isn't helping anybody.
Yeah.
So that's how that went.
Was it a civil meeting? Was there a lot of yelling and screaming?
No, there wasn't any yelling or
that's
screaming.
good.
Yes. It was a very civil meeting. All of the meetings thus far have been civil.
That's good.
So,
Because I know that, I've skimmed by the Facebook page a few times.
Yeah.
And, some of the people on there are not exactly civil all the time. Some
Yes.
people are real fired up.
yeah, we try to keep it civil at the meetings. So essentially what happened is this Monday is the regular council agenda meeting, and members from standing up to Elwood Electric, should make that into an acronym so you can just say it. It doesn't really make anything. It's SUDI.
Sooty. is all.
SUDI.
I'm not sure that they'd like us to call them Sooties.
Anyway, some of the SUDIs
So he's going to do it anyway.
Some of the SUDIs will be at the meeting.
I told you he was fired up today. All you out
And
there listening.
Plan with that is that they want to make a committee of regular people from SUDI and council members to talk about this. So with the way this works is,
Okay, so are the Sooties going to nominate who they want to represent
yes,
them?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And
The
then
most suitable Sooties will be there. It's the first time in 9 months I've ever made him laugh.
I really like that. Anyway, I'm trying to say this now. Yes, council, in order to work, they have to have a minimum of 4 people. If you have 4 people, you can pass legislation. And if you have 4 people meeting, it has to be a public meeting. That is the Sunshine Law.
Okay.
So, 4 council members can't, meet at a coffee shop and pass legislation secretly.
Right.
It's against the law. But 3 can meet secretly because they can't pass legislation. So it'll be 3 council members and then some regular people, and they'll talk. But that's not a guaranteed thing to happen. Connie McDonald said, I have no problem with it happening, but we have to see what the rest of the council says. So hopefully that'll happen so that council can show that it's interested in engaging with people.
Right.
Beyond that, we have this huge plethora of information. Somebody pretty much did my job for me. It's very
Nice.
convenient. This Dave Ghoulish filed a right to know request with the borough. He got a lot of information. We got employee contracts and wages and a list of all the expenses. He filed another one for even more information. They're supposed to respond to it today, so we'll see if Mr. Ghoulish has posted that on there. He made this little website that you can go to. It's linked on elwood.org. It's also on the Standing Up to Elwood Electric Facebook page, where he has all relevant information on everything, and you can look and see all the stuff he's got. And I did write down some of the interesting numbers, most interesting. So what I found interesting is there's an administrative assistant who on January 2014 was making $18 an hour, which is about $38,000 a year. By July of 2015, she was making $21 an hour, which is about $43,000 a year. So
That's a pretty hefty pay raise.
yes, and that is not an abnormal trend in the council, in the borough government. I'll say that. Now, this year, because there was a bit of a council change with 2 of the members leaving, 2 coming in. This year, I looked at when you look at the pay raises, there were only 3% increases for a lot of people, including the borough manager. But you have to figure they've been getting 5 or 6% pay raises for several years, sometimes even more. So
Yeah, so over a period
Yeah.
of 5 or 6 years, you're looking at 25%.
yeah, the other things, each council member makes $2,400 a year, which is not that much. So like you can think like, oh, to save money, we can just council
It's
no
really
longer
not
gets
that
paid,
many.
but
Yeah,
oh
it's
wow, we saved 20,000 a year,
not
which
really a lot.
which if we really like do a bunch of things to start cutting spending, maybe that will do something. But everybody knows the main thing. Well, everybody should know by now. The main thing is the police department, which is just hard because it's union. A lot of what people are making in the borough is union, so needs to be negotiated.
Yeah, they've had the union in place in this town for years.
Yeah, and then some people don't make enough money. Like the part-time firemen make $11 an hour, which I don't know what's with that. So I wanted to might look more into this, but we have Elwood City School District and the borough. Some people, I know most people know this, but a few people don't. Those are two completely separate government bodies. You have two separate property taxes for each one.
Right.
So Elwood
You have
City,
a local tax and then a school tax.
yes, Elwood City School District around 2010 started doing a lot to reduce their budget. They saw that there was a lot of problems with the tax base in Elwood shrinking and state government money shrinking. They had their the early retirement incentives. So a lot of the teachers that I thought of as iconic Elwood City School District teachers retired with that. They retired a few years earlier than they would have had because they got an incentive. A lot of those positions weren't replaced, and then the ones that you do replace, a new teacher is going to be making a lot less money.
Yeah.
And they combined a lot of positions, eliminated they didn't really eliminate any positions. They did it very civilly by just getting people to
Retire.
And they closed Walnut Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
When Frank Alloy retired, they did, because there was Frank Alloy and Joe Mancini, superintendent, assistant superintendent. They didn't make an assistant superintendent. They just made Joe Mancini the superintendent, and that saves like $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
Then we compare it to the borough, where people are getting raises every year. When in the school district there was a strike this year because the teachers, felt that they weren't making a fair wage with that.
Okay.
So it seems like a big thing that the Sudis want is less borough spending, and for most part this is something that's like a pretty big issue, it seems, in the town that's going to last a while, and so elwoodcity.org is just going to report on it, etc. My personal opinion is that I think that there is things that could be done to make less spending in the borough council. So
Well, hopefully they can,
yeah,
meet and see eye to eye and get some things figured out on how they can, work on the issue, keep everybody happy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's tough because just trying to come up with how to reduce cost without severely reducing services is going to be tough.
Yeah. You can't just cut half your police force, because then your crime rate will go through the roof.
Yeah,
and there's everything that you cut, there's a backlash of that in some way. So you need to learn how to cut what's going to backlash the least, So
Anyway, I think that's the wrap for today. We will keep updating people as this continues to unfold.
all right, so make sure you keep on checking out elwoodcity.org and keep tuning in to WXED 107.3 FM for your weekly news wrap-up. This is DJ Nikki, and you're listening to WXED 107.3 FM. Coming up next is the Mayor's Minute with Mayor Tony Court.